Okay, it's just momentum. This time it's advanced. Always like harder tests.
These bridges
Whoa!
are made from nat.
God, there's a lot of lasers and a lot of ant lines. Okay, so yeah, first impressions. A lot of lasers, a lot of ant lines, and a lot of buttons. Okay, kind of a long timer. So I'm just realizing that this is exactly the same test because I played the original and made a video on that, and then you reached out to me to try the advanced version, which I'm of course doing. And this looks like to be pretty much the same test. So this drops the cube, I'm pretty sure, but there's no. Okay, just weird ant lines. And that gets rid of the turret. And yeah, you added this. I forgot to say something about this. I noticed it, how there's like no way to get out of here. I just forgot to say something about that in my blind playthrough of the first version. So that's good that you added that. Yeah, I like it how you added glass here so I can't jump around anymore onto these ledges. Alright, so I should solve the test. So the first cube is over there. Alright, so that's... I think it's this button I need as well. Like that. Yes. And I can just jump down. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, I just barely made it. Okay. And this is interesting. This portable surface is very interesting. Because it's my only way out, but... Okay, so that one has it. And these have it. Oh, no. And there's a button here. Is this my other cube? Yes. And it's unmarked as well. So this says square. That has nothing around it. Okay, so this is a bit of an oversight. Because I could just skip everything. There we go. Go around like this, grab the cube. And then there should be two buttons for me. One there and one over there. Let me actually bring both cubes over here. Get out of here, turret. Over there. There we go. Alright, and that's the exit. And you know what? I bet I could do something like this as well. Yeah, like that. So there's no reason to use momentum in this test then. Even though this is a momentum test, I don't need to use momentum in it, right? This is just a test. Okay. Alright, so since this is your test and you recommended me your test, I'm just going to start criticizing it, because usually if I play someone's test and it's like not recommended to me, I'll play nice with them. But since this is recommended, I'm going to criticize it some. So I'll start off with what I like. I like how you added glass here, not just because of like the anti, right? If I press this button, you get up here, you know, for that anti-cheese. Not just because of that, but because it also opens up the test. You know, you could have added like solid blocks here, and it will ruin the visibility and just the visual appeal of the testing. So I like it how you did glass, so everything is open, and even though, and the airlines don't help either, but even though you can't see what's on top of these ledges, you can if you do something like this and look around. So that helps as well. I didn't use the laser, but I bet if I did it intentionally, I would have. I like the lighting of the test. It's not too much, it's not too little. is like just enough. You have lighting down here as well. So I like that touch, and it also decorates the test a bit, like how you did it. Like this style of test doesn't really need to be decorated. Um, but you said this is a advanced version, but it is the same test. So okay, so if I was to break down this test, I would say you press buttons like this. You press buttons like this, and then you do a jump, right? And then you grab a cube, and you press buttons, and then you do a jump. Then you press buttons and do a jump. Press buttons and do a jump. And how many times do you want to do that? So you grab this cube once, put it here. That's twice. Grab the other cube. Yeah, 4, and then back to 8, so 5. So 5 times you're pressing buttons and then jumping. And it's the same jump as well. So, and because of that, so you're already, so since it's the same jump, if you do the jump once, you basically solve the test then, because the test isn't advancing, it's not doing anything different, it's just the same thing over and over again until you get to the exit. Another thing is like this light bridge. You only use it once, and it's tied to a button that's on a timer. And so you press a button, then you go on the light bridge that you used once to press another button, and then you go back on the light bridge. So I would instead use momentum. Like, I think you could use momentum here as well. Yeah, you can just use momentum there. You don't really need this, because like a good test will have like a center idea, and you have that. You have momentum, and then it will use that idea in different ways, like while using as few elements as possible. So you can literally just make this test just 100% pure, what's it called, momentum with like these 2 cubes, and that would be a good test. But since this is just momentum, and you're using momentum just by falling into portals, it's very limited what you can do, because you're not using funnels, so you can't get momentum with funnels. You're not using light bridges, so you can't use light bridges to gain momentum. It's just falling into portals. And what's this? This is 4 high. So I would say, actually, before I get to that, another thing about this, you know, yeah, sure, I'll just talk about the buttons now. So these buttons don't really do too much for me, honestly. It's because all these buttons are here, except for like the one that's up there for the button, but that doesn't really count. So to open up, I'm going to call these gates. To open up these gates, you have to press a button. You know, I think it's 1 or 2 buttons. Yeah, like this one has 1 button. But I know this one requires this button and that button as well to jump over there. So you have these gates, right? Like, and if a player just entered here, like, where would they go first? There's no indication of where the first step is to be, like, besides that. And because of that, it's a little bit, I guess, confusing in a way, because, you know, you can do this first, and then you could go over there first, you know, if I place the portal. What you should do instead is have a clear first step, you know, that probably use momentum, so you get the idea that this is a momentum test. And let's say like the first step, you land up here, and you get the cube, and the cube drops, I don't know, like over here maybe, and then use momentum again. But let's say instead there's like a button here that activates this area for a set amount of time, so you have to quickly go over there and jump. And that would be a better use for these belt buttons, you know. Put them in areas that lead through the test, you know. Don't put them all on the same level, because it's a little bit confusing of where to go first. And that's my whole point with that. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not the best at explaining things sometimes. Did I talk about what makes the test hard? I don't think I did that yet. It crossed my mind, but I don't think I talked about it. So, one thing. So this is, I wouldn't call this an advanced test. I wouldn't call it a hard test either. You know, adding a bunch of ways to die doesn't equal a hard test. You know, this is, you know, remove all the layers. This is a puzzle game. You know, it's, these aren't exactly, they're tests. They're puzzles, and I don't want to explain it. So, like the escape sequences in the campaign, like you're running on catwalks, and there's like a bunch of short puzzles, but those puzzles are mainly like avoiding death. That would be a situation where adding a bunch of turrets and laser fields is okay, but since this is just a puzzle, there's no reason to add all these different ways to die. It doesn't add anything to the test. It doesn't make the test harder. Like, a hard test should have a logical puzzle with it. And use like all the different test elements in complex ways. Like, you just have one test element, and because of that, you can't really make a hard test with that. It'd be really hard to. What else? You're using BMod. Why not remove some of these ant lines that are like traveling halfway across the test room with a sign? So, for instance, this obviously drops the cube, so why have an ant line stretching all the way across? You could just have a sign here that indicates it drops the cube. And you could do that you could do the same with this button with that cube dropper, just add a sign. And you can do the same thing with these exit buttons, put like an exit sign here that says this needs to be activated for the exit. And that will really help clean up the ant lines and move these buttons in strategic areas that lead the player through the test instead of just having them guess where to go first and taking it from there. Another thing I would do, because here, I was going to talk about this. So this is 4 high, and terminal velocity, I believe it starts at 6 units high. So if you fall 6 units, that would be terminal velocity. Something you could do is just remove all of this and like place this button on a ledge that's up here. So I don't know, pull this wall out, like this wall out, or these 3 blocks out a little bit, and have this a little bit more headroom. So let's say you just do this, jump from 4 units, and that gives you just enough momentum to reach here. Then what you could do is jump from here, so that would be about this high. Then you go like way up here and possibly just reach this ledge. You might have to pull this like closer by like 1 or something, like 1 or 2 units, but you can then go all the way up here, and that'll have a better use for the room in this test. I don't know, I guess that's about it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, another thing, the point I just made, how you jump from 6. If you're going to do that, remove these portable areas and have a different way to get out, because players can then just do this and just cheese it like that. If this is like this, and you don't want players like skipping parts of the test by doing that. So I don't know, you might want to, if you go with that idea, you might want to change this a little bit so there's a way out of here, maybe without using portals, like if there's like a lift or something. And another thing, I guess, since you're using a laser here, you could change these to what they're called, reflection cubes, and this will line up nicely. Let me get a couple cubes. Oh, god dang it. Alright, I should probably just turn on God mode. But you could reuse that laser with the momentum and have a slightly more complex
These
test.
bridges are
You just turn on God mode so these turrets
from
don't kill me.
natural light.
And skip this audio. Oh god. Okay. So let me spawn a couple cubes. Let me get rid of these turrets so they're annoying. Okay. And these portals line up nicely with this. So what we could do is have, I don't know, do something like, where's the other button? Is it over there? Like these line up. And, you know, do something like this, and maybe this activates something at the end, at the exit. So you're using the laser as well, instead of just something to kill turrets with. So you're reusing that test element. I guess that's another thing you can do. Yeah, I guess now that's all I have to say about this test. Yeah, I mean,
Congratulations.
overall, right, it's
Forcible,
not bad.
Deadly, cruel.
I did
And
play
one
a
test
version very
subject even
similar
had
to
the
this
nerve
like a
to
couple
cough.
days ago. And, you know, it's the same test pretty much. But I guess I'll do it for this video.